Hello and welcome to Empire State Weekly. I'm John Gray in Albany. Lots to cover this week. Let's begin the governor's race, seeing some major updates. Governor Kathy Hochul selecting her running mate, Adrienne Adams. Adams serving as the Speaker for the New York City Council from 2022 to 2025. In a statement, Adams says she is dedicated to making the state safer and more affordable. Both her and the governor say that they'll be focused on minimizing the impact of President Trump's federal policies on New Yorkers. Governor also announcing her running mate just hours after the current Lieutenant Governor, Antonio Delgado, who's running for the primary against Hochul, named his running mate, India Walton. Walton had won the mayoral primary in Buffalo in 2021 and is an advocate for health care access, tax fairness, and immigration protection. Republican and Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who launched his bid for governor in December, reacting to the governor's running mate choice. Blakeman blaming Adams for the multi-billion-dollar deficit happening in New York City.
Kathy Hochul just picked as her running mate the former Speaker of the New York City Council, Adrienne Adams, who's responsible for the $13 billion deficit that the city has. That's going to make it more affordable to live in New York? I don't think so.
At the time of this recording, Blakeman is the only nominee on the Republican ticket that is not named a running mate yet. That's coming in days. Other big news now out of Albany this week. Longtime Assembly Minority Leader Will Barclay announcing he will not seek a re-election in the state assembly and is going to vacate his role in the minority leadership. In a statement, Barclay said that it was not an easy decision and that his focus, quote, remains on important issues that must be addressed for New Yorkers. I'm confident the next leader will continue the incredible work of our Republican conference. Transition of power will happen early in this legislative session, but no exact date has been determined just yet. Barclay entered state politics back in 2002 when he was first elected to the Assembly. He represents the 120th Assembly District, which covers Oswego and some surrounding areas. He was elected minority leader in 2020. Unknown right now how soon the Republicans will elect their new minority leader for the lower house. This week, Governor Hochul signing the Medical Aid in Dying law, the measure allowing terminally ill patients to fill out a request for medication that would allow them to end their life. The governor had asked for some changes to the legislation which would safeguard against abuse. Advocates have been pushing for this bill and law for over a decade, saying the measure allows those who are terminally ill to pass with dignity. Opponents, though, argued what they wanted was increased resources for at-home and end-of-life care. Let's get to our main topic this week now. New York lawmakers, both sides of the aisle, proposing legislation to limit immigration enforcement in New York. This week, Republican Senator Jake Ashby proposing a bill that would refocus ICE enforcement. It would bar ICE agents from going into schools, child care facilities, hospitals, or places of worship in the purpose of a civil immigration enforcement. It comes as the governor proposed legislation that would make it easier for citizens to sue ICE agents if their rights get violated. Other proposed measures to limiting ICE coming from the Democrats. The MELT Act, which would ban the use of face coverings for these federal agents, while the RADAR Act would create a public dashboard sharing data on the immigration arrests and those detentions. Joining me now to give additional insight on limiting ICE in New York State and lots of other topics is State Senator Jake Ashby, Republican representing the 43rd District. Jake, I don't know if I've ever been on the show before. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, John.
For those who don't know, who are watching us in Plattsburgh or the city or wherever, where is your district?
So the 43rd Senate District is all of Rensselaer County. I have northern Albany County and about 2/3 of Washington County.
Okay, very much upstate. We talked about ICE. Let's talk a little bit about ICE. We're watching what's happening across the country. That's their issue. We'll talk about New York. A lot of moves to limit what they can do and how they do it. Where do you stand in all this, and what are you pushing for?
Well, I think what we've seen in Minneapolis and right here at home has really been a failure of leadership at the federal level. And we decided to put legislation out actually prior to the governor's proposal. We had been working on this, so it just kind of timed up well, really to prompt a discussion and to prompt action at the federal level. Because what's happening right now is not what we want to see. Yeah. And so what this legislation would do is it would limit local law enforcement's ability to cooperate with ICE during warrantless operations, so civil action. But for everything that's criminally related, they still have the ability to do that. So border operations, criminal investigations, there's still going to be cooperation. And really, what we've seen in Rensselaer County as well, that stays fully in place. So when people are detained and suspected of a crime and they are in jail, they still have the ability, local law enforcement still has the ability to run them through a federal database to see if they're wanted for murder somewhere.
Right.
I think it's important for our public to have that option. So this bill still keeps that in place. But the other things that are happening that we've seen, again, I think the federal government needs to be prompted to take better care, to take a different direction. Hopefully leadership will recognize this.
I know it's so polarizing, but I've not seen a study on this particularly, but I have to believe, using common sense, even those who are not fans of ICE at all and what's been happening in Minneapolis, if Jake or a county executive or a police chief said, look, we get all that, but this person we're trying to apprehend drove drunk and killed people, that we want to get him off the street, most people rationally would still want to, they wouldn't be upset if police help, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I would think that. But I also think that what we've seen, it's gone too far at this point. With the warrantless action, the public deserves better than that. And really, what we all deserve on both sides of the aisle is federal reform for larger immigration policy. And hopefully, this action at the state level will prompt that, right? Our country was founded by immigrants, right? We came to this country, we believe in the rule of law. It's been brought up for decades now, and at some point, we need to take action on it, and I think now is a good opportunity to do that. We've seen it come up at the federal level through Congress, through Senate. It seemed like we had an agreement, and then it was rescinded. Why not take that up right now? Show good faith, show that you are taking this as a priority, and make that change.
What are you hearing about the budget? I know you're a minority party, but you guys still have a seat at the table. You still have a voice. Things looking good with the budget? Are you liking what you see, or is it you're waiting for more details of where this money's going to go?
Oh, we're always waiting for more details. But one thing that we have heard is that the budget will hopefully be delivered in a more timely manner this year. I'm optimistic about that, even though I do chuckle when I hear that. But I hope that we can get a more timely budget. I hope that we see a more restrained and thoughtful budget this year.
And what do you think about another big topic we're seeing in the media in Albany, I'm sure everywhere else in the state, is the national grid bills and the energy costs, and what are we doing to get these bills down? And we're having a tough winter. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think New York State finds itself in a predicament right now with the passage of the CLCPA. The governor is in a bind. She's essentially asked the courts to not enforce the law. The courts are refusing to do that. Why not repeal the CLCPA and start over with a more balanced approach? I think most people, especially the citizens of New York, would be in favor of that. Intermittent sources of energy like solar and wind are great, but the regulatory environment that we've created by really driving the subsidies towards them is notwithstanding the demand and the infrastructure that we need to make this happen. So I think we need to go back there, repeal the CLCPA, and start over with a more balanced approach.
Well, you guys have a lot to work on in the next few weeks. Your prediction, you think it'll be on time budget, or is it a flip of a coin?
I don't think it will be on time, just from the historical side of things, but I'm optimistic that it will be better.
Well, I'm thinking because it's an election year for governor that she's not going to want it to drag into July. So I got a feeling you guys will be out of town before you know, but I guess we'll wait and see.
Appreciate that.
All right, Jake Ashby, thanks for coming in. Good to see you.
Thanks, John.
DMV locations are going to be shutting down this month. When we come back, we're going to hear from a spokesperson for DMV. Why the shutdown, what's happening with the upgrades, and how's it going to help you? Also, by the way, if you got a comment or story idea, Tell us all about it. You can email us at news@news10.com. We are also on X at WTEN. Welcome back to Empire State Weekly. The Department of Motor Vehicles shutting down all locations around the state for a few days this month. Locations are being shut down to bring upgrades to their locations. Those upgrades meant to replace much outdated software systems, with the first phase of this new system promising to be more modern and much more user-friendly. The rollout is scheduled for President's Day weekend, starting Friday the 13th, continuing on till Wednesday the 18th. DMV advising everybody, get your necessary transactions done ahead of that closure date. Joining me now to give some additional insight on what's happening at DMV across the whole state, Lisa Kumjian, the Deputy Commissioner of Communications and Customer Service at DMV. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. It's nice to be here.
So what's happening? We certainly had enough leeway. It's not like this is sneaking up on us. I heard about this many weeks ago. What's happening? What are the dates? And what can we look forward to here?
Yeah, this is a project for us that has been years in the making. We are overhauling our technology systems. Some of these software systems have been in place for us for 50 or 60 years. So as you can imagine, long overdue for an upgrade. We are so excited to be rolling out the first phase of this project on February 16th over President's Day weekend. We will be shut down starting Friday the 13th at 2 p.m. and reopening to the public on the 18th. So that means our online systems, in-office transactions will all be shut down. That's really to make sure we can turn off all the old stuff, bring the new stuff online, and then do some testing to make sure everything is running smoothly. So when we open our doors to the public on the 18th, we're good to go.
And is it the software you're changing, or is it literally like the hardware, some of that stuff as well? Is it just the top to bottom changes you're doing?
Yeah, some minor hardware changes, but really it's the software that supports all of our systems. It'll make it a lot easier for our agents to serve customers better. Today, they might have to tap into 8 or 9 different systems to do a single transaction for a customer. This will be a single interface for them. They can just click through different tabs depending on what they're trying to do. They'll have a 360-degree view of the customer's profile. So if there's issues on their record that they wouldn't otherwise have seen if they hadn't gone into a separate system, this will make it really seamless and easy for them. And that will, ensure that it's a more seamless and better experience for all of our customers.
There are still things, no matter how great technology is, you have to go into DMV. I got my license redone like last year, and you got to do the eye test. They got to make sure you're a real person, that kind of thing. But I'm guessing now with better software and technology, the online experience is going to be a lot better, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that is part of this as well. We are overhauling our online transactions as well. We're really hoping to add additional transactions. There will definitely be one new transaction day one, and then hopefully more coming online thereafter. Like I said, this is phase 1, so this will tackle all of the driver services, even things like non-driver IDs, anything that relates back to your physical identity document that you might get from the DMV. Phase 2 will cover all vehicles. Things, registrations, titles, insurance, that sort of stuff.
I'm guessing too, because I know our audience and I know people, somebody will say, well, why can't they do this from midnight to 8 a.m. and keep everything open during the day? I'm guessing to really do this, you have to take everything offline, and that's why you're closing for several days, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, think about downloading a video game or a huge file on your computer. Sometimes that can take hours. Now multiply that by 30 million plus records and you've got a long weekend shutdown. So yes, that's why it takes us so long. We're converting millions of records. We want to make sure all of that data comes over seamlessly. So not only is it bringing it over, but then it's checking to make sure everything was done exactly correctly, so there's no impact to the customer when we reopen.
Are you encouraging people, if they really do look at a license that's about to expire or a registration thing or something that they have to do online or do in person, try to get it done sometime early in this week versus getting upset the Tuesday when you guys are shut down?
Yeah, exactly. If you're due to renew, go online, do it today, don't wait. If, God forbid, you miss the deadline, you may not be legal to drive right away, but you certainly have up to 2 years after your license expires to renew. So it's not like you have to start the process all over, go back to your permit test, none of that. You've got 2 years to do it, but just keep in mind, you might not be able to drive for a day or two if you don't do it beforehand. So yes, if you know you're coming up for renewal during that outage window, please get it done now.
You mentioned this is phase one. Are there like multiple phases, or is there a phase one, phase two? And do we know what that entails yet in terms of the second part of this? And is that way down the road, or is that something like in a few months?
No, not a few months. That'll be 2 years from now, roughly, give or take a few months. But there will only be 2 phases. So this first phase took us about 2 years in development to get to this point, ready for rollout. So like I said, that will cover all of our, what we consider driver services. And by that, I mean any identity service. So if you have a non-driver ID, this upgrade will impact those records. Everything in phase 2 covers vehicles. So registrations, titles, insurance, and that sort of thing. But that's it, phase 1 and phase 2. And like I said, that second phase will happen sometime in 2028.
All right, and give me the dates again, because people who might have jumped in the show and missed the very top of what you said. When are things shutting down and when are they reopening?
Sure. February 13th at 2 p.m. That's when our offices will close. Our online transactions will come offline. Everything will be back up and running on February 18th.
Gotcha. All right, Lisa Kumjian, who, by the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, was a fine television producer in her previous life and now talking for DMV for the state of New York. We do appreciate you coming on, Lisa. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. It's always great to see you, John. Thanks for having me.
Take care. And you got the dates, so don't forget, people. All right, lawmakers in Albany looking to make the state more affordable. When we come back, hear from state Republicans on the steps that they wanted the state to take to try to cut some spending and cut taxes. By the way, if you have a comment or story idea, please tell us about it. You can email us at news@news10.com. We are also on X at WTEN. And finally, on Empire State Weekly, Governor Hochul getting some criticism from opponents regarding her exit strategy for the National Guard presence in our state prisons. Robert Smullen, currently running for a Lee Stefanik's seat in Congress, stating that the governor's approach is hurting taxpayers with over $50 million a month going toward housing those troops. According to the state budget, $535 million will be allocated to extend that deployment of the National Guard. This in addition to the $700 million already being spent by the state. We'll be sure to keep an eye on the situation and bring you the latest analysis. For now, from all of us here at Empire State Weekly, I'm John Gray in Albany. I'll see you right here next week. And don't forget, you can watch this show all over New York State. Here's the full schedule of Empire State Weekly on 10 TV stations across the great state of New York.